Hey, very excited to welcome you here to this podcast. We're looking back on the 2010 Penn Relays where the University of Virginia won handily. You're going to hear from four really cool guys. You'll hear from Lance Roller, you'll hear from Alec Bowman, Stephen Finley, and Robbie Andrews. And we're going to go back to these kinds of videos around every month or so. But for now, we're looking forward to hearing what you think about this interaction between these guys who did something really special in 2010.
Thanks, guys, for coming on. This is the 2010 Penn Relays 4x8 Championship of America winner. So from obviously Virginia. So we got Steve. I guess we'll go in order of the leg. So Alex Bowman, right? You led off, right? And then Lance Roller, then Steve Finley, and then Robbie Andrews. So I guess to kind of give a little background here, I did a little bit of research before this since we're trying to tie it into Virginia history. I'll ask you guys, does anyone remember how long it had been since Virginia won a Penn Relays big wheel on the men's side? I guess we'll start with that.
It was a while.
32,
40s.
Yeah, so 1943, so it was like 67 years. And actually, Virginia had won 3 120-yard shuttle hurdle relays in the 30s and 40s. So that was the last time the men had won. And then the women had won 3 or 4 championships, DMRs, and a 4x8 in the early 80s when they were at their peak. So it had been a long time. So obviously a huge deal. And then we'll go into that more. But I think before jumping into it, just kind of hearing background, I watched some interviews today. And Robbie and Lance, I know for you guys in particular, the Penn Relays meant something special to you guys. So just kind of building what it meant to you guys on that day. Personally, if you could talk about that a little bit. Your family and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. You want to go first, Robbie, or you want me to go?
Sure, yeah. I'll kick that off. So first, Adrian, thanks so much for having us. This is absolutely awesome getting to see the Bow Monster and Lance Roller, Steve Finley.
Go!
Dude, when Adrian asked me for everyone's number, I still have you as in my phone as Bow Monster. So,
yeah.
dude, legends never die. But
my phone is Bow Monster.
With Bowman, I can't when it comes to Runk, Bowman's automatically associated, peanut butter jelly, Runk, Bowman. I can't think about Runk without thinking about Bowman. Let's go. Yeah.
So funny. So Adrian, man, this is about the best excuse we could have had to see these guys. It's awesome to see everybody. But so for Penn Relays for me, so my dad, he ran at UPenn back in the early 80s. And he ran there in high school, he ran there in college, he ran there post-collegiately. And I grew up hearing all these stories about the Penn Relays. And then in high school, I ran in the open mile. I ran in the DMR. I ran 4x4. I was part of the 400 heats of the 4x4s. So I really got to experience it. And then, my first year at UVA, we got in the Championship of America, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is great. And then, you get all these big teams in here like Penn State and Oregon, and it's like, it's the real deal. So it was, for me, going to Penn Relays always meant it's going to be an incredible race, and you're going to have to make sure you run really well. You want to represent yourself well, and of course your team. But so for me, Penn Relays, it's really, really special for me.
Cool. Lance, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, and kind of the same, growing up in the Northeast, Penn Relays is such a huge deal. Every high school in the Northeast comes down there. You get to travel and compete against the best of the best. I know personally, my grandfather had season tickets, so every year he was right by the finish line. So every year he'd see every relay, of course, USA versus the world, all the college 4x8. So when the year we actually won it, it was a big proud moment for him, and I was happy that I could do that, especially now that he's passed away. So I'm happy I could deliver that to him before he left this earth.
He was there, Lance? He was at the race?
Yeah, the funny thing was he was trying to have a conversation with me right as I was getting the baton, but I was like,
no.
We were standing against the wall, and
maybe that's why you
waving them off.
while you're taking the hand up, maybe that's why you were slow to take the baton, Lance. And, I looked at the video earlier today, and I'm like, man.
My split made up for it, so it's okay.
But you screwed up my split. The hand-up's on my split, Lance.
Alex, you were closing so fast, he wanted to let you run as far as you wanted to go.
Right.
We'll blame that on the conversation with Grandpa.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a cool story for sure.
I had a similar background with Penn Relays growing up. My bio always said I came from Chicago, but I only lived there for 2 years, and we spent the previous 6 years in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So when my dad was coaching, we would go down and see all the events, and we'd spend about maybe 5 or 6 years before college just being there for the relays and hanging out and seeing everybody run and watching USA versus the world and the college guys go at it. So even when I got to Virginia, I remember telling Jason Dunn, who was the first coach down there, we want to go to Penn Relays, we want to bring a team up, we want to run the DMR. And we watched the Virginia guys led by Andrew Jeshin the 2 previous years, or maybe 2007, 2008, take it to the Texas guys in the 4x mile, and almost took Leo with 50 meters to go, but he got his doors blown off, and that was a pretty special moment. But, great place.
To add to that, I remember the first time before I got to UVA, the first time I met a majority of the team was at Penn Relays. I was a senior in high school, and a lot of you remember me because I was decked out in a bunch of UVA gear.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
I've got a picture from that day, Lance, and it's like me, Bowman, Huma Hussein, a couple of Jan Forrester was there, and you had your fitted cap on. You had your suit.
I'm like, who is this guy?
Brad Hunt was like, I think he's going to sign with us. I said, yeah, I think you're right.
I think we're set. Yeah. So Steve kind of told some of my story too. But yeah, my history with Penn Relay starts just watching it on TV. So we would never get up there to race, but we would always watch it on TV. And I could be making this up, but I'm pretty sure Bill Cosby from the Cosby Show raced one year. So I remember watching it on the Cosby Show, but then also you're seeing it every year as well. And I remember my freshman year at UVA getting the call from Coach Don. He says, you're going to be on the 4x mile at Penn Relays. And I was like, what? Like, you picked me? And we ended up having a horrible race. I bombed. My leg was bad. It was just a bad day. And then we came back the next year and took second to Texas. And it was just this awesome experience. But it's like, I came to quickly realize that second place sucks at Penn Relays. You want to win that thing. It's the only way to do it. But the story gets more complicated. So my sophomore year, we come in second. Everything's great. But my junior year, my season was kind of plagued with injuries. I had this back problem. Had this health thing I was dealing with, and I didn't make the cut. I didn't even make the team. I didn't make the relay. And I was pissed, and Vidge absolutely made the right decision. We come to win, not to make the junior on the team happy. So it was the right decision, but I didn't make the cut. And so the next year, Vidge is talking about doing something special for my senior year and all this stuff. And, I caught the vision and we made it happen. It was just so awesome to have that story told from freshman year and basically not even showing up, but being there to second place, to not even getting on the bus, to winning the thing. It was awesome journey.
Not to mention, Bowman, don't forget the week before you killed it at ACCs. You were killing it.
Yeah, it was fun.
I was just going to say that.
At ACCs.
What did you get? Fun. You got second in the 15 and fourth in the 8?
It was third and fourth. Yeah.
Third and fourth. Yeah. Oh my God.
With him and Santayu closing in what had to be
51
flat or something.
It was something.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Ridiculous.
In the 1500.
It was wild. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, and to mention, freshman year, I don't know if you remember Finley, but we still have the college record for the 4x8.
I know, yeah.
Really?
So
We-
2009.
Yeah, because you guys weren't in the championship of America. You're in the college.
Bowman, I can only
They
interesting.
wanted us to be in the college race just to get some experience, to like experience winning, so the next year we'd be ready. And we ended up breaking that record, and we still have it.
Yeah,
You know how fast you ran?
like 722 maybe.
We would have placed. No, we wouldn't have won the
It would have been like
actual
6th,
championship for
yeah.
America, but we would have placed in the race.
Yeah, I think Vidge's mentality, he explained it to me, was he didn't think we were ready to win, so he wanted us to go and get the feel of winning without, having to waste it getting 12th in the Championship of America. So we won the DMR college on Friday, came back and won it on won the 4x8 on Saturday, and it was a really great weekend. We came away feeling really good, but we were hungry for more, I think, for the next year.
So I guess, yeah, that kind of is a perfect segue, and you guys kind of talked about this, but I almost just asked the question when Lance was talking about it, but background in the event, just to kind of give some people that don't know. So because you all had raced 800 and I guess raced the 4x8, but all kind of coming from a different place and level, if that's fair to say. So kind of give a little background of your experience in 800 and maybe the 4x8 real quick. And then can we talk about ACCs? Is that okay? Can we talk about how that happened 2 weeks before?
Lance will talk about that all day.
Lance would love to talk about that one.
Winter chicken dinner.
Rushed Robbie Andrews down the stretch in 30-mile-an-hour winds. I remember that. That was
Yeah, it was windy. I completely forgot about that. It was
Dude, Lance, we ran like 150, dude. We were like jogging, but it was so windy.
I don't remember the
It was
wind.
windy that day. And because I remember the strategy, we kind of went into lane 2 and let the wind hit everybody else. Now I completely remember that.
Oh my God.
Huh.
Yeah. So wait, Adrian, you want us to give a background
I guess
in
you had
our
accomplished
like the
something big in
800
indoor,
specifically?
right? You were a freshman and had accomplished something big in indoor. I know Steve was more of a steeple guy. That I guess you had run the 800 more indoors, right? And then Lance, you were more Drew, and Alex, you were more Drew. But you guys are all different. So just a little bit of background on your experiences or successes in the event, I guess, going into it.
So I was a first year, and Coach Vidge was definitely kind of putting me right in the 800 a lot. I ran a lot of 800s indoors. I ended up winning the NCAA title in the indoor 800, and then it's only like 6 weeks later is the ACC championship. I got so Lance and I went 1-2 in the indoor ACC 800, and then 6 weeks later we went 1-2 again, just Lance winning and me getting second. So I had run a good amount of 800s, but this was my first 4x8 in college. So I was very much looking forward to it. But I had run a good amount of 800s before that, and definitely looking for a good one.
For me, of course, like I ran second year. Of course, I ran the 800 as well, indoor, outdoor. As for the 4x8, that was actually my first 4x8 ever because I had the unique story. I
Really?
ran for my high school team.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I only ran clubs. So that was my first time actually doing like a 4x8 relay with everybody once I got to Virginia. So that was an awesome experience. And even like the DMR, so relays, that was great for me, just having the team aspect.
Another excuse for the bad handoff.
Good point. That's a good point.
Hey, all my splits made up for it. So. But also, I was more of the speed-based 800, so because I went down to the 4x4 and everything. Even though, if I really wanted to, and if I really probably trained for it, I probably could have ran a better 1500. But no, give me the 8 and the 4. Now that's more my.
You had a good 8K too, I remember.
Yeah, had to do a few of those, but if I made into the top 7, we had an issue.
Then Steve.
Yeah, for me, I mean, Robbie, said that Lance and him went 1-2 indoors and outdoors. What he forgot to pass over was I was 8th in the indoor ACC final, and And I was like fifth with a lap to go. And then Robbie came around and tapped me on the butt and said, all right, let's go. And he won it. And he ran like a 23-second last 100 to an ACC title indoors, which was fairly embarrassing for my tall body to get around. But yeah, I was a steeplechaser. I'd been banged up in cross country season. So I was put in the 8 all indoor season. And then, just getting my feet under me for outdoors. I was badgering Vigilante for a spot on the 4x8 because I knew he could pick a bunch of other guys who were just kind of hanging around, and I was unproven, but I was fighting hard for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, I remember on the flow track, like commentating, which I think is amazing for this race, they mentioned that you aren't one of the guys they thought would be in it. Like they wanted to say that, like, specifically.
On the depth chart, I think, a little bit,
yeah. And Alex?
Yeah. So my story with the 4x8 starts earlier. It was really part of my transition from more of like a 400-meter runner to a distance runner in high school. And my coach at the time, Joe Pardue and Mug Headley, saw me training with the sprinters, and they were like, "We need to get this guy in the 8." And so it was my freshman year, and they put me in the 4x8. And our goal at the time was to break 8 and make it to states and all this stuff. And we ended up doing that. They actually had me anchoring the 4x8 as a freshman, which was so scary at the state meet. And we didn't make all state, but we ended up redeeming all that. And by the end of my year, we broke the school record every single year. So it was just my favorite race. Next to the mile, that was the race I wanted to be in, was the 4x8. And for me, outside of the miles, I consider myself a miler, pure miler, and the 800 was just like the bonus. And I got to beat up on the sprinters with fresh legs. So, it was always just fun. I could just do whatever I wanted because it didn't really matter. I already ran my race, and now I'm running the 8. But the 4x8 was always really important to me because of that high school background.
You were a senior, right, in 2010? Is that
yeah. Yep.
So.
Hey, Bowman, I kind of had a similar situation at high school. Like before high school, I actually high hurdled and I did like long jump and stuff like that before I really transitioned to the 800. But my high school coach was kind of like, hey, if you do this, you could be really good at the 800. I did the 400 hurdles before. And actually that ACC's Vidge actually was contemplating me doubling in the 8 and the 400 hurdles.
Wow.
Yeah, me too, I think.
Yeah, he saw me in the cage. He would see me in the cage once in a while, just like going over the hurdles, just I would do it for fun. And then he kind of asked me, like, did you hurdle? And I did do the 400 hurdles just my freshman year of high school. And he asked me if I ran, and he contemplated me running it. But
Lance, I think it was because he saw that like 62 seconds scored in the men's 400-meter hurdles in the ACC back then.
Did it really?
It was something,
really?
I
didn't even know that.
Yeah. There were only a certain amount of people in because he's like, you want to do the double steeple 400 hurdles? And I was like,
I mean, DeLeese was there. You would have had to go up against Steve DeLeese, but
yeah.
Cool. Well, let's. Oh, do you have something else to add? Sorry.
No, I was just saying shout out to Steve DeLeese.
Okay.
Penn State, yeah.
Well, transitioning to the actual race, this was like a very competitive year. Oregon was obviously loaded on the middle distance side, and I don't think Robbie gave his NCAA title justice as he had upset Andy Weeding, who was an Olympian already at the time and by far the best runner in the NCAA that year as a senior.
I have a technical difficulty here. Hold on a second.
Anything to add as Andy's coach at the time? And then Penn State was loaded and Connecticut was loaded. So actually looking at the race, I'm a big stat dude.
There were so many All-Americans in there.
Yeah, 6 of the top 8 at indoors NCAAs were individually were in that race, which is.
And even if you look at people's careers, by the end of their careers, you look at Texas A&M, Michael Preble, Joey Roberts, they kind of set that foundation for A&M today with Donovan Brazier and all them. You had LSU, you had 2 All-Americans and Siddiqui White there. You had Mr. Hoka 1-1 himself, Kyle Merber in the race. You had the Everett twins from Texas, and actually fellow Wahoo Patrick Todd was in the race as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was in it, yeah.
So they were
Man.
nice.
So going into it, I guess you guys obviously were. It sounded like you were expecting to win and wanting to win, right? But who were you focusing on the most? What was the thoughts going in with the teams and all that? Connecticut was really good, right?
Man, I don't know if anyone was expecting to win. I mean, if you look at what Oregon had done the earlier that day in the 4x mile and the day before in the DMR,
yeah.
I mean, it was a really tall order. And then you look at Penn State, the original 800U, they had a bunch of 146, 147 guys. It was a really tall ask. And, even UConn, they had Brian Gagnon and Mike Rutt, two 146 guys. And at the time, I think if you added all our PRs up, we probably barely snuck under 720. So it's not, if on paper we were by no means this like powerhouse of a team, but sometimes those races, the relays, they don't really get going. Sometimes they do. And I think what Vidge did really well was pick the order really well. I mean, Bowman gets elbowed to yesterday in the first 50, 100 meters, and he's playing catch up for 700 meters and still hands off in second. And then you put our fastest guy on the second leg, and Lance runs 146 and blows it open. And then you put Finley on there, and he runs the toughest leg out of anybody, going out in 51. And it's the order
So
of it was
amazing. Oh my goodness.
The order was just
Storybook.
it was everything. If we didn't run in that order, I don't think we come even close. So it was a lot of it was kind of a perfect storm of a lot of things for it to work out for us. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and just to hop on there, like I don't remember any of us really sitting down and saying to each other on a run or a passing moment, hey, what are we trying to do here today? It was kind of we all come with our own individual stories of how we got there and how absolutely passionate we were about competing and representing the school and this group and kind of our own group and our own rise at Virginia over the course of like 4 or 5 years. And, it was just something when we got to the track, it was kind of hey, we have to handle our business and do our jobs and maybe something magical happened. And it kind of did. Yeah.
One more thing I will add is that 2010 was also the record attendance for the Penn Relays because Usain Bolt came to run. And so I remember looking outside the hotel window every couple hours, and you just see more and more Jamaicans filling up the stadium. So it was like this crazy high energy in the stadium.
It was packed.
It was crazy.
And I remember when they actually announced Usain Bolt's name, when they're like, and now the fastest man alive, and you could feel the ground just shaking just through the roar of the crowd. And probably the closest thing I felt to that was actually in Hayward Field whenever there's an Oregon or OTC athlete, it's probably the closest thing I felt to that. But that at Penn was ridiculous the way
it was unreal. And it was the race before us. That's my memory, right? It was right before us.
Yeah, we were walking into the stadium, and it was one of the USA versus the World 4x1 had just gone on maybe 10 or 15 minutes before, and the whole place was shaking. And then we were looking at Lance. Oh. Lance was looking for his shoes out in the garden or somewhere for a half hour.
What does that mean?
What's funny about that? I'm happy you remember that because at least
I don't remember that.
So of course, we were the last ones in the paddock, and
we were, yes.
The last ones.
I remember that.
I was the last person in the paddock because I didn't tie my shoes yet, and I was taking my time to tie my shoes, which was "Don't worry, they're not going to start the race without you." But thankfully, I knew the usher. The usher was one of my youth track coaches. So instead of Virginia, where are you? You heard, Lance, get your ass in the paddock right now. So I was like, all right, that's Coach Andy. So let me get in there. But I'm happy you remember that because I still think that was hilarious till this day.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
I think that was all part of Vidge's strategy too, for us to be the last ones in the paddock, stay loose, not get caught up. You never know how long you're going to get stuck in there, that kind of thing. But go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna say, once we got in and lined up, there were two things about it that I remember, and I want you guys to fill my memory here. One was Vidge had said if wherever Weeding switches his place in the lineup, that Robbie was supposed to follow him, and whoever else was supposed to flip back to the end.
I don't remember that.
I
Okay.
do remember that. I do remember. I forgot about
like
that.
half a second.
I
For like a half a second, he like walked up to third and switched with Elijah, and I like jumped behind Robbie and came back forward. Anyway, that was horrifying for me. The other one was, as soon as we got in, before this happened, Andy Weeding and Robbie were just in hugging and talking about their moms and how much they said hello and nice cards.
Really? Wow.
So my mom had written Andy Weeding a letter after that NCAA indoor race. He was, I had no idea actually until he said this to me, and
he told you on the line.
He tells me in the paddock, and so my mom wanted to thank him for being so nice to me after I won. Like he wasn't this big jerk, and like he didn't make any excuses. Like he was just this really genuine, really nice guy, and I'm really lucky to say I'm still good friends with him today. But my mom just wrote him a letter. I had no idea. And like, we're about to go kill each other for 2 laps. And he's like, hey man, your mom's really nice. And, I think we're going to be really good friends. And I was like, what are you talking about? So that's really funny. You remember that, Steve. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it was on Let's Run. Yeah.
I was so afraid for myself. I'm listening to you two talk about how nice Robbie's mom is.
Oh, I can't wait to call her after this and tell her. Oh my God.
So maybe I guess I'm the outlier here. I did want to beat Oregon. I knew they were going to be gunning for Robbie. So, and more so than that, they were in our hotel.
They
were in our hotel.
And Penn State.
And
Sheridan.
And Penn State. We were in a nice, fancy hotel, whatever. But I remember seeing them. We're walking in. They're all in their, Nike gear that won't be released for 5 years and all this stuff. And, you feel it. You feel it. Like, oh, yeah, we're going to get them. You got a chip on your shoulder. We're going to get them. So, that was my vibe going in. Oregon's going to be there. And I wasn't as much thinking about Penn State as much as Oregon because I knew, with Robbie winning indoor, they were after him. They were after him. So,
yep. For me, when it comes to track, you don't sleep on anyone. But for the favorites, it was duck hunting season, and we were going to tame some lions on the way.
Oh my God! So as soon as we get off the bus from in Philadelphia, we're getting our bags and stuff, and Vidge asks, he's like, "How you feeling, man?" And I'm like, "It's duck hunting season." Let's go. And that was just kind of just set the tone, I think, for everybody. Like, I admittedly got very lucky at the NCAA meet indoor. Like, Andy's the better runner, and I caught him off guard and was able to beat him to the line. But that didn't mean I didn't want to beat him again, and that didn't mean I wanted to let my teammates down. And so I think, we were saying we hadn't really talked about it leading into it, but then when we got there, very collectively, we all wanted to win really bad, and we all knew that. And if Bowman's leg didn't set the tone, I don't know what did. I mean, he got absolutely clocked, and just he didn't care. I mean, if he had handed off in last, I would have been like, yeah, I would have done that too. Like it was everybody put everything they had into that race, and we wanted it really bad for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's use it as a segue, Alex. Sorry, Lance, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like you said, Bowman, like it is not a good feeling to lose at Penn Relay. It's like Ricky Bobby said, it's either your first or your last. That's how it feels. Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter if you're second, third. You just feel like you when you lose, you lose. You're like last place. It sucks to lose at Penn Relay.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I guess hearing you guys talk through each leg, like Alex, what is this elbow? Get that from your perspective. and then have you guys go through order and talk about your legs. And then I think like I kind of want to hear how everyone was feeling during Robbie's leg because that was a pretty exciting leg to say the least. But all of yours were exciting in their individual races. I don't know. It's fun to watch for sure. So
I think Steve's leg was actually the most exciting.
That was super. Victory lap with Steve was hilarious too. That was very as well.
Dude, Steve's just running in slow motion, like an all-out 31 last 200, and just so much lactic acid. He was 90% lactic acid in his body. It was
so exciting. No one knew what was going to happen, especially after they read off 51 or whatever it was.
You guys went out in 51.
Dude,
oh man,
dude, Lionel Williams, man, he was flying.
My goodness.
He was flying.
And Steve, you're right there, just like all heart, just like right there. And you hand it off,
right?
Yeah, you hand it off in the lead or neck and neck, right?
Sure did.
We'll get to that.
All right.
We'll get to that.
Bowman, Bowman, start us off, man.
So I was lead off. It was great. I get pushed to the back. Maybe I didn't have the best start. I don't know. But anyway, I got pushed to the back in the first turn. And I didn't want to push back. I could have. But I didn't want to get us DQ'd. And I just knew I didn't want to get – because if you watch the video, it looks like we're about to fall or someone's about to fall. And I'm like, I'm not getting in the mix of that. I'm not dropping here. I'm not going to fall. I'm not going to get disqualified. And I'm just going to stay relaxed. And so that's what I tried to do, stay relaxed and hope, I have enough room to get in position and can kick. And that's pretty much the story. I think it's hard to watch the video now because I try to watch it with my kids before I got on here, and it was hilarious because you can't see anything anymore on the video. The quality is just so bad, and I don't know if you watch it on Flow Track if it's any better, but I try to check it out on YouTube, and I just couldn't see anything. They're like, "Where are you, Dad? Like, which one? Where are you?" Orange. But yeah, I think that's the basic story of my leg is definitely the push from behind or push to the back at the beginning. I think I was in like last or second to last for the better half of that first 400 and started making my move in the last 300. And then I think started to really gain ground in the last 200. And Oregon was right beside me doing the same thing and was able to hold Oregon off and get close to Penn State at the end.
So you handed off in second, right?
Yeah.
And what was your split?
It depends who you ask. I say it's 149. Officially, maybe it's 150. But
hey, with the shove, right?
Brad with the shove. No, with Lance's handoff and but Brad Hunt had me clocked at 149, and I'm sticking to it. I take it to my grave. I'll take it to my grave.
Yeah. Brad's famous.
So,
yeah, and with Lance at 146, I feel like he could give me a second. So
okay, and Lance, you were next.
So the main purpose for me, I was the breakout leg. So usually after most relay races, after the first leg, that's when the race starts to break out and teams kind of start to separate themselves. So thankfully, got the baton in second, and the person who was ahead of me was also another speed guy in Cass Loxham. So Cass took it out, and pretty much I was just right behind him the whole time. Felt pretty good. When you're kind of in the zone and you don't feel anything. That was kind of me during the race, just going with the flow and then just making sure Steve gets it in good position. And it's funny because I guess years later, my sister told me when she took her visit to Penn State, I guess that was Cass's first introduction to me because he said when he handed the baton off, he didn't realize someone was behind him and it was me. And he was like, "Who is this guy?" So I guess that was his first introduction to me, like, on the NCAA circuit. But my whole thing was just to make sure we break out the race and I get the baton to Finley in a good position. That was my job.
And you did it.
Yep. And I didn't think I split that fast until I saw the time, and I was just like, whoa.
I mean, you guys looked like you were running pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
That would have been,
yeah.
you hadn't broken 147,
I'm
right?
standing there. Yeah, good.
No, I didn't break 147 before that. And the funny thing was later on that year at NCAA's when I ran 146, I thought I ran like crap until Vidge like pointed at the scoreboard. And I was like, no, I didn't run that time. He was like, no, I did. So
Got that little cue, made the final.
yep. Fastest time qualifier ever. Still got that.
Yeah.
Dude, you beat out Charles Jock, man.
Yep.
Wow. And then, so you handed off in second again too, right?
Yes.
And then comes the famous leg, I guess we're calling
Yes.
it now,
Yeah, I
right?
guess
That's
it's
right.
only the 51 that makes it famous. But anyways, I'm standing there. I'm losing my mind. My heart rate was probably 200, and I'm sitting there going, Alec handled his leg, Lance is handling his leg. I'm having to race Elijah Greer, who was a freshman, had run like 147 in
As a junior in high school.
and Lionel Williams is standing there, who's just like, jacked up and ready to rock. And he looks like he's about to lay a 45-second quarter on me. And Lance comes through and I just grab the baton and all of a sudden I'm like, well, I can't get gapped by this guy. And he is out and we just took off. And the whole time I was trying to run as relaxed as possible. But when you're like in an all out sprint after it's like, okay, if I can just keep this like 5 to 10 meter gap, I don't have to catch him. I'm just gonna let him run out. And I kept hearing my dad's voice in my head and like running relay races in Chicago for a couple of years indoors, where it's like, you just let them wind themselves up and go, and then just wait and wait and wait. So it became like hunting Lionel Williams after he went out in probably 24 or 25 second, first 200. And luckily, I just hung on him for 500 meters. And as I came around with 300 to go, I kind of had two things happen. I had Vidge's voice in my head that was like, pass or hand off in second, don't get ahead, just get on the
Right. Yep.
That's what we were kind of thinking. We're like, okay, if we get Robbie the baton in second, it's probably gonna be behind Andy or something. And then I run up and I hear Andy Powell right on the edge of the track. And he's like yelling at Elijah, who I didn't realize was probably, 5 or 10 meters behind me. So I was thinking to myself, well, I gotta go. And then I look up and I actually saw my dad in the stands screaming, and he's like, just kick it in. So I just took off down the backstretch, and whatever I had left, I pulled around him on the corner. And then I started slowing down a little bit because I was thinking, well, maybe I not give Robbie too much of a gap to get eaten alive. But yeah, I think my split was like 152 or 2 flat, but all that really matters is that the first lap was in 51. So we'll let the record reflect that.
It's official.
It's funny how we could hear as loud as Penn relays is, you could hear your parents, because I could hear my parents as well. I could hear my mom on the backstretch yelling. As loud as it was, you could hear your parents' voice. I think that's pretty
yeah.
Oh yeah, especially my father was like a 30-year or 40-year coach who just lets it rip sometimes. So
Then, Robbie, you got it in the lead, which is the opposite of what you normally like, right? Like,
So
they did hand off in the lead, right?
Exactly. So I got the lead. So the biggest takeaway from this is that they really didn't need me. They were the best 3x8 in the world at the time. And all I had to do was continue it, and it was hard, but they more than handled their jobs, which was absolutely incredible feeling to get from me. I was like, my guys did their job, and they put me on the anchor because they believed in me. So just don't mess it up. And I had Andy Wheating, this Olympian, this men amongst boys, so to speak, and Ryan Foster, who this like 23-year-old Australian guy who I think he had run 146, and he's probably a 356, 357 miler. And I do the opposite of what Kaz did and Lionel Williams did. I went out pretty relaxed in about 55, and no one passed me. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep doing this. And I get a really good shove from Ryan Foster with 400 to go. And it was a really good wake up call for me, because I was like, oh my God, that's right. We have to race. Like, this is going to be a race. And I hadn't been in the lead in a race, like in any race, for much longer than the last 50 meters or so. And so then I'm sitting on Foster from 400 to 600, and Wheating goes around me, because I was falling off Foster a little bit. So Wheating was trying to decide if he needed to win the race against me or needed to win the race against Foster. And Foster just went way too early, but Wheating didn't know that. And so then Wheating really just set himself up for me to sit on him.
Oh yeah.
And it was, I remember the last thing Fidge told me before the race is that the straightaways are really short at the Penn relays. Cause so to extend the track, they had to go on the inside of the track, because they didn't want to break down the brick wall. But it had to go around this huge stadium. So the turns are really wide is what I'm trying to say. So when you turn the corner, there's only about 50 meters until the finish line.
Yep.
And I just went off that turn and jetted in against him. And, Wheating had run 3:55 the day before in the DMR. And I was fresh as a 19-year-old kid, and just out sprinted him to the finish. And it was seeing those guys after seeing these three guys right here at the finish. It was just this feeling of accomplishment. And you don't feel like that unless you beat a team or teams that are really good. And so for me, I felt validated because I beat Andrew Wheating again. And as a team, as a UVA team, we felt really validated, because not only were we the best in the ACC, but now we're the best in the country. And we came to run, and we kind of put our money where our mouth was. And it was just listening to these stories, how perfectly it ended up being for everyone. It's like no one's leg was perfect, but it ended up being perfect. And who would have thought that Steve Finley would have handed off in the lead in the Penn Relays 4x8?
Crazy. So
and it's
crazy.
like, it's like he's talking about getting eighth in the indoor ACC 800, and then he's handed off in the lead at the Penn Relays. And you can't coach that. You can't teach that. That's heart. And he wanted to be there. And that's from him growing up, running around the Penn Relays. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about this. I mean, it's incredible. And how we pulled that off against the absolute monster teams that were in there it's really cool. And, one day I'll show my kids, not anytime soon, but, for Bowman to show his kids this video, it's gotta be such a cool feeling, man. And,
so much fun.
It's great. It's really great.
To add a line to Robbie's story, Foster passed you on the inside.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Which is one of the most disrespectful things you can do in track and field.
It was a cheeky pass. Yeah, it was very cheeky.
It was. It really was. And you made him pay. And I thought that was great. But
all's well that ends well, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That last 400, whoo, so many emotions.
Yeah, let's hear it. What was going through your guys' head a little bit? You changed it.
I know for me, at least when Foster and Wheating passed Robbie, I was like, okay, he's going to gather himself. We're good. Keep it calm. In my mind, I was like, you got this. You see it's going on. It's still about 200 meters. They're all together. And everybody starts kicking like, all right, this is it. As soon as I see Robbie start make his move and then he starts to get by Wheating, the competitor comes out in me, and it's like Mortal Kombat, like finish him. So, so he just goes by. I'm like, come on. And as soon as he goes through the line, I'm just joy. Very anxious moment. It was just like super competitive. I was just, so many emotions were going through my head. Probably a lot of them I can't say because we're on. Probably kids are going to watch this podcast, but there was a lot of that going through my mind. But it was awesome. It was just a great feeling.
Yeah, I was I think I was on the ground praying or something. I blacked out for about 90 seconds after I had it off. And then by the time I got to my feet, I just remember Lance was the closest one to me. And I just grabbed him. I don't think I let him go until Robbie hit the line, but but yeah, it's one of those joys where you're watching a great basketball or football game and there's a great play that's happening. It's a really special moment. And when Robbie came around the turn, I think in track and field, it's one of the sports that really captures it, whether it's a sprinting event or a distance event. But there's that moment of greatest tension where two athletes are about to unleash their final kicks, and we just knew, or at least I felt like I knew that watching the race, how it had gone, that Robbie had the edge, and it was just about him kind of letting himself do his thing, and he just did it, and he came to the line, and we were just kind of biting our nails all the way through, and then we just, it was just ecstasy of winning a championship in a team event. It's really, really cool.
And I know the closest thing for whoever watches this podcast for any other UVA fans, the closest thing I could describe to this is like when you watch UVA basketball, how they give you anxiety when you watch them play. That's how that last 400 meters when the Penn Relays was. It's like, you get joy out of winning, but you're so anxious until it's over.
Oh yeah.
You don't know what's gonna happen. So.
All right, I got one more side note. I want you guys to correct my my memory over time. We won, or Robbie won, and we won, and then we were all celebrating. And the legend goes that Jason Vigilante had jumped the fence, but was within 5 yards, had been tackled by 2 security guards and dragged out of the stadium. Is anyone
that legend is correct?
That is true. That is true. He did get tackled. And the funny thing was, as he got tackled, Adams was easily able to get on the field.
Of course. He's probably trying to talk to the USA versus the world, the sprinters.
Yeah, but yeah, Vig did get tackled.
Oh, man. Well, anything else to add about the feeling during or that last bit or afterwards?
No, we can skip over the victory lap too.
The victory lap was awesome. So great. That was so cool. That was just so
Does that
cool.
always happen at Penn? Yeah.
They just recently got rid of it actually, but for up until at that point, that was the big deal. It's like, because if you win, you get to do this victory lap with your squad, and everyone cheers for you. And if you get second, no one cares about you. No one knows.
Oh yeah.
So that's just adding to the if you're not first, you might as well have not even run. And so this victory lap. So I personally, I ran 55:52 for 147, and it wasn't this. It was a really fast finish, but it wasn't a really fast race. It's not like I went out in 41 or 51, and it's not like I ran 146, and it's not like, so these guys ran really hard, and we get about 300 meters into this victory lap, and we just hear hey guys, and Finley's just in a trash can, just bringing up his lunch, his breakfast, yesterday's dinner, yesterday's lunch, and he earned it, man. But he's like, hang on, guys. He's got his American flag. Dude, to say he put it all out there is an understatement. I will never forget that victory lap and just soaking it all in and seeing Finley. I was like, everyone wanted this so bad, and we ran for it. It was this out of body experience. It was crazy.
And don't forget, Finley puking was also on the big screen. You remember when we were cooling down and the Jamaicans
was it on the big
screen? Like, hey, are you okay?
I would risk to say no less than 10 nice Jamaican mothers came up to me asking me how I was doing after the race.
That's the best part. That's amazing.
Very, very kind to me after.
Because Finley's he's this. How tall are you, Steve? 7 feet tall, and he's wearing orange, and like he's the face of the relay, because he's this like you can't miss him.
Yeah, right.
And it's like I'm like 5'7". I look like anybody else, but you got Finley, this tall figure, and this poor guy, man, he let it all out there.
Yeah, the victory lap was awesome. Having the flag, seeing everybody go crazy, seeing people in the stands going crazy for you. That was great.
Well, thanks, guys. This is amazing. A lot of fun hearing you guys talk through it, and it's just fun hearing your guys' passion and just how much it meant and how much it truly was a team experience and what you guys got out of it. Anything else to add? how what it meant to UVA, anything.
The only thing I'll add is just, Alex and I were seniors at the time, and we had, when we came to Virginia, it was kind of, they'd just gotten off the ground, I felt like, at least, and started being able to recruit bigger people and bringing more people in. And then Jason Dunn ended up leaving, and Jason Vigilante came in, and he kind of shared that vision of more and bringing in better people. And it was really cool for me personally to watch, this being the fourth year of that maturity of the team, and just being able to go back and feel like we brought a piece back from, Penn Relays finally, and being able to put the wheel in the office was a really special moment. And I think, more so for the whole team and for our whole group of fourth years, fifth years, third years. It was just like a long time coming. So it was kind of for our whole crew.
Definitely agree with you with that. And I think also after winning that, you also realize like the support system you have, not just like within the UVA community and Charlottesville community, but within like, I guess, your hometown. Because it was interesting, like, of course, like being from the Northeast, a lot of people are at Penn Relays. And there were so many people that were like, we were so happy for you. We were screaming our lungs out for you. Like, we were so proud of you and everything like that. And also, I know for at least in the New York area, that kind of definitely put Virginia on the map, especially because a lot of people who knew that I went there. It's kind of like, everybody knows, like, of course, your storied programs, like your Oregon, your Arkansas, A&M, Florida. But when we won that race, it was kind of like, okay, Virginia is legit. Like, this is for real. And I think people started to take us a little more seriously and realize that we are a legit program and we are something to be reckoned with. So I thought that was awesome about Penn Relays.
So for me coming in that was my first year, and being recruited, you get all these pitches from different coaches promising you the world, promising you this, promising you that, and Coach Vidge, he kind of promised me a good team. He was like, you're gonna have guys to run with, you're gonna go to Penn Relays, you're gonna run well, and we did it. So for me, it really validated that I picked the right school, and I picked the right team, and I picked the right coach. And even if we hadn't won and say we got third, to me, we're still running with Oregon, we're still running with Penn State. It's like, we're there, and that was the first year that we were in the Championship of America, and that's something to build off of. So for me, it gave me a lot of confidence and it really validated that we did the right thing. And then a few months later, Lance and I make the final at NCAA Outdoors. Finley goes on to run 8:40, 8:30 in the steeple, and Bowman's just being Bowman, just the strongest guy I've ever met. And it's so for me, after that race, it really solidified, like, we meant business, and it was you can run really well in Charlottesville, you can run really well at UVA, and it wasn't just talk. It's the real deal. So for me, that was kind of my takeaway from it. And then a couple of years, next year you go back and do it again, right, Lance? And
Yep.
And then
you guys should have had the record the next year, man.
Yeah,
second all time.
I know. It's like you look at it now and you're like, oh, damn, I should have ran, like, if I would have ran this much faster.
I didn't need to open that can of worms. I'm so sorry.
I always blame Brett Johnson for it, but yeah.
But so I guess that's my point, is that we go in there, that got the momentum going for us. And if these guys hadn't done that, who knows if we would have done it the next year. And who knows if we wouldn't get the recruits that we got the next year, and so on and so forth. So for me, it was this really kind of just feeling of validation, that we were doing the right thing.
Yep, and that win was for everybody, not just us. So our whole group, the Andrew Loves, TJ Hobart, all the Taylor Gillen, all that whole crew, that was for them. They were a part of that too. It was a collective effort.
This is great for me, guys. I actually never heard this side of the story. I only heard the other side of the story. This is kind of a good, it's really good for me. It's good to hear you guys all interact with one another, and it's clear why you guys won and how meaningful it is, because I can tell just this first time I met two of you, and I think it's really great for me to hear how you guys recollect this and what was really going on. Boy, it's very inspiring. And I think that once the kids that are currently on the team see this, you guys will be people that they will try to emulate. I think that's really good stuff. So I appreciate the opportunity to hear all this.
I wanted to have one more thing, especially for like the guys that are on the team now. You'll be very surprised how many people and staff at the university are actually following what you do. Because when we won that Penn Relays title, it was interesting how many professors actually, like, the next day or the next time we had class were congratulating us. If Miss Kathy is still at Newcomb, Miss Kathy actually came up to me. And she was so proud of us. She's like, saw you in the news. We saw everything. We were so happy at what you've done. So you never know who in the university is actually following you. So you might just think, oh, it's probably just whoever is like into track, cross country. No, there's a lot of people following us. So that was actually pretty cool to see. There's more people following us than we think.
Hey, wasn't that great? Really excited to hear from those guys. It was cool to see the interactions that they had, the bond that they had, and they accomplished something really special. We're going to go back to this every now and then. I'd like to thank Adrian Lorenzoni for setting it up and the 4 guys who came back and relived that memory of Penn Relays 2010.